I'm Abby.
And I'm Uchenna.
And this is Shine Your Eye, a podcast about the good and the wahala, here at home, back home, and around the world.
So join us as we inform, inspire, and enlighten all that shines bright in our community. Hey, Abby.
Hey, Uchenna.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. It's been just a delightful few days. How about you?
It's been, if I'm being honest, it's been a week from hell followed by another week from hell. But this week looked up. So
Anything you want to share?
not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Off camera. We can discuss it later.
Yes.
Well, yeah, this week has been pretty good.
Good.
I'm just happy in general. So may it continue. Amen.
Amen. So today, I'd like to give a standing ovation. And this is a sitting podcast, so I can't stand.
Ooh.
Yay! For the brilliant Vivian Odior. She is global head of marketing at WhatsApp.
Mm-hmm.
I had the chance to hear her speak recently at a Kick Network event.
Okay.
And the Kick Network is something that I've just learned about. It's the brainchild of Mrs. Eweredo, former senior VP at ExxonMobil. She has retired, and this is one of her. Yes, very much. Mm-hmm. Her and her husband retired at the same time, which is
even better.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
We might talk about them on another show. But this is one of her, I don't want to say pet projects, but one of her impact projects.
Okay.
Networking and mentoring women in leadership, wherever they are, but mostly within like big companies.
Okay.
So they had this networking event, and Vivian was a speaker at the event. She absolutely lit up the room.
Mm-hmm.
She's so poised, so insightful, so full of gems. And a lot of her gems I'm still chewing on. So what makes it even more special is that Vivian and I go way back.
Awesome.
We went to the University of Houston together.
Mm-hmm.
She's always been a spark and a genius. But now she's thriving on the world stage, and it's just next level inspiring.
Awesome.
So Vivian's journey started in Nigeria. She was raised right here in Texas. She studied broadcast journalism and advertising at the University of Houston. And then she went on to earn her MBA from the prestigious Duke University Fuquay School of Business. She's lived and worked in multiple cities around the world, and you can feel that global perspective in everything that she does. At Johnson & Johnson, which is where she was before WhatsApp, she led powerful award-winning campaigns like How We Family, #HowWeFamily, and See the Real Me, which was the company's first to feature a transgender teen.
Interesting.
She even launched a maternal health brand focused on reducing mortality rates for Black pregnant women.
Mm-hmm.
So talk about impact. Now at WhatsApp, Vivian is shaping how over 2.5 billion.
With a B.
Yes, with a B, people connect around the world. When she spoke, she talked about how when she lived abroad and she lived in Dubai, WhatsApp was the way that she was communicating with her family, which is so true. Like it's the only way it's the best way, let's say, after calling cards.
Yes, after calling cards and going to find those cards at the grocery store, convenience store, and then eventually they became digital.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now we don't need any of that for the most part because of WhatsApp.
Because of WhatsApp.
So she's expanded WhatsApp payments in India and Brazil, led a bold U.S. privacy campaign, and brought on the NBA superstar Giannis.
Yes.
I always say his last name.
I won't even try, but yes.
Let's use the Yoruba version. Adetokunbo, as WhatsApp's first ever brand partner.
Yes.
The vision, the strategy, the execution, she's doing it all. I know you met her.
I did. I actually went to the event they had here in Houston. It was very well done. A lot of good food, DJ music, great people. And we saw the WhatsApp movie about him going back to Nigeria since he left as a kid.
Wow.
So it was really nice, and it's still available to watch on YouTube.
Okay, very cool. I don't think I've seen the whole thing. Didn't they also make a special for another? Did they make a Netflix special out of it? I may have made that up.
I thought it was YouTube.
YouTube. There we go.
Yes.
Vivian You are walking in your calling and lifting others as you rise. I see you, and I know so many others are watching and learning from your journey. This is your moment, and this praise report is just a small piece of the celebration you deserve.
Yay! I think I sat next to her parents at the event. I
Oh,
think I did.
awesome.
Yeah. So it was nicely done. So kudos to you.
Yes, yes.
So I have a question for you.
Mhm.
How do you like to handle this situation when you go out with a large group of
Mm.
people, not family, friends, or maybe coworkers, acquaintances, and the bill comes? Do you have a go-to rule on how you deal with it, or a preference?
So, if I have my way, I want to choose the restaurant based on having a restaurant or going to a restaurant
Hmm.
that will let us split the check 57 different ways if there's
That's the
57 of
preference.
us.
Yes.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Because I want to pay for what I ate. And nobody else knows my pocket like me.
Hmm.
And I choose what I eat based on my pocket. I cut my coat according to my size. So I prefer
Yes.
that.
Okay. Me too. I prefer when I can split it 100 different ways, or if there's, what is it? The service where you can go to the register,
Mm-hmm.
pick it out, and go sit down. I love that for big groups.
Mm-hmm.
So there's three scenarios that are pretty common. One is when there's a group and someone eats a lot more than the average, steak and lobster, or everyone else may have salad or something a lot cheaper.
Caviar.
Yes. Or the opposite, where someone is a lot lower than the average bill. They may just get salad and water while everyone else is enjoying themselves to the fullest. And then the birthday.
Mm.
When someone is
Oh, Lord.
celebrating, who pays? Does the celebrant pay? Do the people around pay? How do you deal with that? So these are some common things that we deal with when you have a friend group. And, so I just wanted to discuss it. So, what is the best? Let's talk about etiquette
Mm-hmm.
and how to deal with it. Okay, so I found an article on NPR, and it's called The Etiquette of Splitting the Check. So this is a summarized bit of the article.
Mm-hmm.
So are we going Dutch, or are we doing separate checks? It's a normal question to ask up front. So you need to be mindful of the group size. So in large groups, itemizing is hard for servers. Even split may be an easier option, but consider it financially fair to everyone.
Mm.
So avoid assumptions. Don't assume someone will cover more just because they ordered more or less.
Why not?
Why do you think that if someone ate less, they should pay more? If their bill is less, why should they automatically assume that they should pay more?
Oh, I agree with that.
Oh.
But you said don't assume that
Don't assume.
if somebody ate more, they'll pay more. Why shouldn't I assume that? Maybe I misheard you.
Don't assume someone will cover more
Uh-huh.
just because they ordered more or less. Don't assume it. Don't assume it.
Okay.
People are different.
Etiquette. Got it.
I mean, because there's always that you end up and the bill is $100, but we only have like $92.
Right.
Somebody,
The math ain't mathing.
the math ain't mathing. Tipping matters. Agree to include tip before calculating.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be the person who forgets to tip and creates a shortfall.
Right.
So that can
That
happen.
always happens.
It always happens, right? If you're hosting or inviting, clarify your expectations. So the person who is what's the word I'm looking for?
Celebrant?
The celebrant or the person that is inviting
The
host, yes, needs to determine how we're going to split or if we're going to split. So, come celebrate with me sounds like you're covering it. So be clear. Don't say come celebrate with me, but I love to have dinner together. Everyone cover their own meal. Does that
Yes.
sound a little harsh to you?
No. Okay. So my husband is the king of harsh. My husband said,
Uh-huh.
if you are calling me for dinner for your birthday
Yes.
and you are not paying, do not invite me.
Really?
Or maybe that's not what he said. This is more what he says
Mhm.
to me. Don't congregate people to celebrate my birthday if we are not paying. Like, I don't
Understood.
want the dinner.
Mhm.
And I think it's a Nigerian culture thing,
It
right?
is, yeah.
When we call someone, we are the ones hosting them. We are the ones
They're
paying. But we're in America, and Americans don't necessarily think that way. And some of us have taken the American way.
Right.
And I know when I'm going to somebody else's
Mhm.
dinner, I'm always prepared to pay because nobody ever makes it clear. And I have been to someone's dinner where they called me and it's Dutch, or they called and we're supposed to split. And I'm like, okay.
That happened to me, and I was very upset. So she had rented a room,
Oh, wow.
and hopefully she doesn't see this, but if she does, now I was very
Etiquette.
upset. So, and no, like I think she invited like 20 plus people, and only 3 of us showed up.
Oh.
And so there had to be a cover of like
This
a minimum.
She should know now. This is why. No, go ahead.
It was a minimum that had to be done. And
Oh,
so,
wow.
and I didn't even want to go, but I ended up showing up. It was a lot that happened that day, and I just really wanted to go home. But I said, no, I'm going to stick to my commitments, and I'm going to show up. And I didn't even like the food very much, all of that. And I remember paying, and I was just so upset that I had to pay like $100+ I forgot what it
Wow.
was for the little that I ate, and I didn't even eat, and it wasn't good.
Mhm.
So, but I also think there's something to be said about if it's a male's birthday party versus a female's birthday party. I think it may be a little different. No, like if the celebrant
Maybe.
is the woman supposed to pay for everybody? I feel like that's not as
Yes.
common as if it's the man and he is.
What if she's a married woman?
But yes, but still, like if it's like a girlfriend's dinner,
That's
does the girl? I'm not used to a woman paying if it's a girlfriend's outing.
Well, yes. If it's a girlfriend's outing and it's not
It's her
your
birthday. But no, it's her birthday.
So I like when I go out with my friends, because I forget birthdays, I forget anniversaries, I forget kids' birthdays. I am almost never doing as I want and sending you a gift for your birthday, right?
Right.
So if we go out for your birthday, I think it's my role to pay for you,
Okay.
right? So especially if we organized it for you, but even if you organize it for yourself, if you and I go on a birthday dinner and there's like 10 of us,
Yes.
somebody should be picking up your check.
Not the celebrant.
Right.
But I feel
I
like
almost never go to men's birthday dinners that are not married.
Well, I have. And I've never paid. And I
Right.
assume that the birthday guy usually pays.
Yeah.
So I think there's something about
I think you're right.
the sexes. It's different.
I think you're right. Although, again, I have not been to many male birthday dinners. But I think for those, I definitely didn't pay for him, right?
Yeah.
Like he, at a minimum, would pay for himself, and at a maximum, should pay for me too.
Right.
That's why.
And then
I
those
haven't
are the
been
most
invited.
like extravagant because they like to go to steakhouses and stuff. So those are good ones to be invited to.
My husband's birthday is coming up soon, and I'm like, oh, let me go ahead and
we
gathering
for it.
gathering coins, and it's not gonna be 50 people at the
Right.
table. I'm gonna tell you that, because he will not stand for us having everybody pay for themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. So, okay. So, communicate with kindness. If someone's portion is short or high, give them space to explain or fix it. Avoid public embarrassment. So, very important because in the times that it's come up short, someone just said, "Oh, I'll just put an extra." But
That's me.
yeah.
I check the bill twice to see what I ate, and then I add in the tax, and then I just add 5, 10, 15, 20, depending on how the server was.
Exactly.
I just add more on because I know somebody's gonna shortfall, and I don't want us to have to be like, well, we're not leaving, because I've been places where they were like, we're not leaving till we get the rest of this, you know? And that's embarrassing.
And also, sometimes you never know who is the short person, the
Yeah.
person that's short on that. You never know unless you're
Really looking.
or if you just know somebody is typically cheap, but those people usually don't
Get invited.
exactly. Yes. And I've had some experiences where I went out to dinner with some friends and I said I will never go out to dinner with them because they didn't tip or
they eat caviar.
Yes.
I have people like that I've actually, okay, so I don't know if this is one of your scenarios, but depending on who I'm going to dinner with,
yes,
I will arrive early.
Okay.
And speak to the server.
Interesting.
Or speak to the server on the side
and say
and tell them, this is what I'm eating. I want my bill separate.
Do they usually honor it?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, because it's not, they're not having to put it with everybody else, and it's simple. Especially if I like come late or something, I'll just be like, look, I'm ordering this, but here's my payment.
Right.
Like, I'm separate from them. So that when that comes, I'm dipping. I'm not staying for you guys figuring out how y'all gonna pay this extravagant bill. And I'm not a big drinker. I went through a time
Mm-hmm.
when I didn't even drink at all. And I'm almost in that time right now, maybe because of Lent, but also because it affects your sleep. We're going to talk about that later.
Mm-hmm.
But I, even when I'm drinking, I only drink one. And let's say these days a drink is $15 or whatever. But if people are drinking entire bottles of wine and having multiple rounds of cocktails, that gets steep fast.
Yes.
And I want no parts.
That's like a once in a blue moon type of situation where I'm coming to eat, drink, and be merry. But typically that's not me. But I have to kind of know who the people are
Yeah.
that I'm with, and is there something that's something special that we're celebrating? I kind of know. I usually will Uber. I won't drive because, that's a responsible thing to do.
Right.
So, but typically because especially when you have a big friend group, you can have birthdays every other week,
Yes.
and it seems like there's clusters that everybody's birthday is in April for me. March, February, and then so it can be expensive during that time. So, but there are apps to help you with splitting if that's an option. So maybe you don't split with the restaurant, but you can split with the person or the group. So we have Splitwise. It's for ongoing group expenses or trips. Plates by Splitwise itemizes food per person, which are great for restaurant bills. Tab app is a photo of the receipt, assigned meal, split tax and tip.
Nice.
And Settle Up is a simple, clean app for one-time splits. But there could be costs associated with it, but maybe it's worth it so you don't have to worry about the awkwardness and, all that. I've tried to use, I remember on a girls trip, we tried to use an app, but someone said it wasn't good, so we didn't even try, but, that's another story in itself. So
I will say, we've been talking about workarounds,
mm-hmm.
but these days you go to a restaurant and they tell you we're not splitting the bill.
Right.
We're not letting you put multiple credit cards down, or we'll only let you put 3 credit cards down. And you do have to figure out how to make that work.
Exactly.
So these apps sound like a good idea.
Right. Or some people like to put it on their credit card so they can get the points and then they
I got a
split it
credit card
later.
too. Every time somebody says that, I'm like, why you get to get all the points? I got a card too.
So why don't you just go first? That could be part of the initial conversation, right? I'm putting it all on my card. We're splitting, or pay me. We could do that, right? So as long also with how you're going to deal with the splitting of the check or not, right? So let's go back at the beginning. I talked about the 3 scenarios. One, when someone is the big spender who eats a lot more than everyone else, the one who eats a lot less than everyone else, and the birthday celebration. So, if you're the big spender, we're going to revisit that. The etiquette tip is if you ordered more, offer to pay more or opt out of the even split. And I wanted to bring up something when you talked about alcohol. Some people, do not like to pay for alcohol. So how should that be dealt with? Should that also be taken out? If people are just the food should be split and then separate for the alcohol? Or, if I'm not a drinker, but other people are, do I pay for their drinks and I'm not a drinker?
Yeah, again, it depends on what restaurant you go to, right? Like at
True.
Mastro's, your food portion could be like $150,
Correct.
And then then the drinks are expensive there too, and it's $20
everything's
each.
expensive, yeah.
So, but if you if you're that person who eats a $30 meal and then you didn't drink alcohol, and then everybody did 3 rounds of alcohol and had expensive food, then that's unfair. I think, like you said, if there's a lot of big spenders and one little spender, you should let that person
opt out.
If there's a person that doesn't drink much, maybe let that person opt out. Or if you're that person and you don't mind, right? Like sometimes I do go and I'm like, for ease, I don't mind. We'll just split it evenly 5 ways. It's fine, even though I didn't eat as much as you people. So I think those are, especially, hopefully you're dining with people that you like.
Right. And it all evens out in the end because you go out consistently throughout the year. So that's true. But, I never thought about this until I was doing research. The smaller or the bigger person can be separate and then everyone else can then even it up between themselves. I never thought about that before. So maybe something I to use if necessary. Yes. If you're the light eater or someone is, speak up kindly and early. Hey, y'all, I'm just grabbing something light today. Hope it's cool if I cover my own portion. So it's just about communication and doing it early. And then...
or you could bring cash, right? Like
True.
you could speak up early and say, "Hey, you guys, I'm on a budget. I'm just gonna eat this here salad, and I
Mm-hmm.
brought cash, and then you guys can figure out the rest."
Exactly. That's a very good option. Um, the shortfall. So, like I said, if it's $100 and you're early at 92, the group etiquette tip is the group should double check math together and calmly resolve. But dealing with Nigerians, that may not be the easiest. We are very loud. Sometimes we can be rambunctious, but
Mm-hmm.
that's one way to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And avoid accusing or
Oh yeah,
embarrassing
absolutely.
someone. I've never had that situation happen, I don't think,
I don't
but
think so.
I've seen stuff on social media, but you never know if that's true or not when you see people calling
I
people out.
we are a people that really respect is key.
You're right.
So I can see how we wouldn't really call anyone out because we wouldn't
In
want
person, but later in the group chat.
right
That's
in
a
a
different
separate group
story.
chat
Yes.
that leaves somebody out of the group chat.
There's discussions being had about
Yeah.
you.
But no blows, right? No, we're
Right,
not
none of that.
resorting
We
to blows at the
no,
restaurant.
we cannot do that. And use apps in that situation
Mhm.
too can be helpful. And then the birthday dinner etiquette tip is a birthday person's meal should be pre-discussed. Don't assume everyone is on board, especially if it's a large group. Offer up front or confirm in a group chat. Let's chip in to cover the meal.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, it's not just about food. It's about fairness, respect, and communication. And don't let this break up a friendship or a possible friendship, because I do know a few stories of people who were upset about how things were dealt at a restaurant and they never met again,
Wow.
and there was just some bad blood. So you want to do all you can to avoid it. So be open, communicate, and if you don't have it, you don't have it. And if you're eating more than others, be generous and be considerate of others, and say, I'm going to take care of my my portion. And also, if you're one of those great people who love to cover meals, you can always call me, because I love to come out and I'll eat with you for free, and you'll just have my great company.
Yes.
Yes.
Which is worth so much.
It is. It's priceless.
All right, it's time for what we're digging. And it's so appropriate given what we've just talked about.
Really? Tell me more.
This week's spotlight is Ray's Restaurant in Houston.
Yes, I've been there before.
We've been there before.
Yes, we have.
We went as a group.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, we didn't have any issues with the splitting of the check.
We did. There
You
were
did?
there were
Oh,
some
y'all
conversations.
did.
Yes, there were some
Okay,
conversations
on that end of the
had.
table.
Yes.
Well, we ate, we stayed really long, and
Really long.
now we're going to tell everybody about it.
But you know what? Can I say something really briefly
Mhm.
about that? Because we did have a plan, but the plan wasn't stuck to. So that's another thing
Oh.
to be kept to discuss is make sure you keep to the plan.
Right.
Yes.
What was the plan? I don't remember.
The plan was to split it evenly, but we didn't end up doing that.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, if we planned to split it evenly and then you came and you had water, you don't like that plan anymore.
Exactly. So then now I know that person should just be out and everyone else split.
Yes.
So, I learned something by researching.
Yeah.
So, yes.
So Ray's isn't just another restaurant. It's a tribute. The owners named the restaurant after Raymond, the brother of one of the founders who passed in
Interesting.
2017. Ray's memory, his energy, he was joyful, honest, loving. They're all baked into the entire experience.
And it feels intentional. Everything from the food, the music, the decor, it's very nicely done. It's
Absolutely.
a legacy. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I had the pleasure of working with Ray when I was running Zanzibar.
What is Zanzibar? Please tell us.
So Zanzibar Houston was a lounge, an upscale lounge in Houston circa 2014 or so.
Okay.
We were in business for 7-8 years. And we would use promoters to promote certain nights, and Shekbed nights, the
very well-known promoters here in the Houston area.
They were coming up at the time. So we worked together often, and Ray was their leader at the time. All of them are really cool. And it was very awesome getting to know Ray. When we sold Zanzibar and they moved their spot to other spots in Houston, after that is when the incident with Ray happened. But yeah, Ray's restaurant is a tribute to him.
Awesome.
So let's talk ambiance. Ray's is upscale, but not stuffy. Would you agree?
Agreed.
Okay.
Very upscale, not stuffy. I like that description.
Yeah. Dim lighting, elegant decor, good music. It's grown and sexy without trying too hard.
Like that. And so what kind of food do they have? What would you classify it as?
It's been called Afrofusion, and I think that's accurate. Jerk lamb chops, suya flatbread. Jollof is always a side. You can add to something. Plantain. And even the plantain, which in our group, some people liked it, some people didn't.
Yeah.
But the plantain was, your normal way of making plantain, but with, what is the salt? Like rock salt.
Right. I remember that.
Yeah, which I would never do at home, but it was nice to have it done at a restaurant.
Texture to it. Do you remember what we had?
So I don't remember what I had. I know other people had different things. So my favorite things there, the rolls, the bread.
Delicious.
Yes. We were like, bring us more.
Yes, we did.
Right now.
Everyone ordered seconds.
Yes.
Which you have to pay for. Well, at least at the time you did.
I don't know if they understood how popular these rolls would be. So I don't know if they made that rule change right when we were sitting there or if they implemented it later, but it's a good idea because otherwise we'll just come and eat rolls.
Exactly.
It was that good.
It's very good.
They also had like these cucumber slice things. I don't like cucumber, but people who had it really enjoyed it.
Yes.
And then the drinks.
Oh, yeah. My drink was so good. I think it was the Caribbean Kiss.
Okay, nice.
I think it was in a cute glass. It was chef's kiss.
Oh, I love that expression. I had a mocktail because I was not drinking at the time, but my mocktail was good. And I think they have an actual mocktail menu.
They do. I remember that.
I don't like when I go places and they don't have a mocktail menu. I don't want, first of all, don't tell me Shirley Temple because that's Sprite or whatever, right?
And I am a Shirley Temple girl. I love Shirley Temple.
Nice.
And I don't like mocktails because I feel like you're just mixing juices and you're charging me $20 for mixed juice.
They shouldn't charge you $20. That's another thing. Some restaurants you go to them and they'll be like, "Oh, we can do any of our cocktails as a mocktail."
Right.
And then they'll charge you
the same price. Like, what is
I'm
that?
not dumb.
No, just give me a Shirley Temple.
Right. I'm not gonna frown on a Shirley Temple, but I want something that somebody thought about all the flavors and put them together
and mix
for
the
me.
juice for $20.
Yes. It's not $20. It should be $8.
That's a lot for mixed juice. You might as well get a Shirley Temple, but that's me. Everyone is different. Let me not poo-poo anyone's love. Yes.
But they had a mocktail menu.
Yes, they do.
It was good. You enjoyed your drink.
I did. And my food. The chicken lollipops, I think was the best thing that I'd eaten in some time.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't order it, but I had tasted another person's and I said, okay, I should have gotten that.
I tasted the jollof. I had some plantain. I cannot remember what I had. I think I had some kind of meat dish that came with the jollof. But I remember the jollof being good. I remember the plantain being good. Mine was salty, but other people loved it. So yeah, it was a good experience.
It was a good experience. And it was a large group of us. It was about 20-ish people.
Oh yeah, that's
right?
Yes. And that's another good thing about Ray's.
Yes.
There is a whole room that you can reserve. So we were able to like close the door when we got overly rambunctious.
Yes.
So that's nice. A lot of restaurants don't have that, but if you want a meeting, a business meeting, or 20 girls getting together
just for fun,
right?
Just try that out. And so they can be found on Instagram at Ray's RHYSHTX, and their menus also are on their website at RHAYSHTX.com, Ray's, Houston, Texas. And for menus and reservations. And if you go, tell them we sent you.
Absolutely. And I will add here, as a person who had a lounge, like being a small business owner is not for the weak.
At all.
If you want your local favorite to stay, to last, you have to go. So think about Ray's for your birthday dinners, for anniversaries, for celebrations,
or just because, right?
Just because for girls' dinner, for your people's meeting, and what else? Like, just think of them for all of these occasions. And honestly, the ambiance is such that you can go there when you want to take your client or your coworker to an African spot. It's Afrofusion.
Yes.
They do it well. So keep them in mind.
Yes. And then also post-pandemic, restaurants have been it's been very hard to run restaurants. People want to do takeout or, and then also the economy isn't, the best. But if you can go sit in restaurants, because I know in the Houston area, a lot of restaurants are closing. There's been increased taxes and fees. So support whenever you can, small businesses. And, I'm assuming if you're listening to this listen to the show, you're kind of like us. So you want to keep those dollars within the community.
Absolutely.
So support Raise. It's a good choice.
Absolutely. That's what we're digging.
Ow. You've been listening to the Shine Your Eye podcast, where the gist never ends. If you like this episode, give us a thumbs up on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen or watch us, and join the family. We'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts, feedback, and ideas for future episodes by emailing us at shineyoureyepod@gmail.com or connecting with us on social media at Shine Your Eye Pod.
Till next time, shine your eye, stay sharp, and keep the gist flowing. See you soon on another episode.